This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys. So today we're gonna take a day off and move to DevOps course first because you will get an overall idea now. So the first and foremost you need to do, so you have to go to DevOps Azure. Just search this. You will get a link. Okay, click on that link. It will give you Azure DevOps. So you might be thinking, hey, what did I learn till now? Okay, so what did you learn till now? You learn DevOps, but Azure DevOps is a section which has all the required components coupled together in DevOps. So either you can start free, okay, or you can start with the GitHub, anything. Start free with the GitHub because GitHub is now bought by Microsoft. So if you have a GitHub subscription, I believe you can use it. Okay, so it just depends on how do you actually want to utilize your channel called DevOps. So coming to the DevOps, do you know anything about Jira? Has anybody have used Jira, Trello, anything? Richa, I can't hear you if you are speaking. I really can't hear you, Richa. Maybe your microphone has some issue. Could you try? Okay. So anybody knows anything about Jira? None?
It is used for bug tracking.
But ticket management system, basically. It's a
Okay.
tracking system. So you know about Jira, right, Amaya?
I have read a little bit.
You read Rohit? Any idea on Jira? Okay, let me show you in such case.
No, sir.
Okay, let me show you in such case. Okay, do you know anything about Trello? Anybody knows a Trello? So see, if you are actually developing anything, it means that you definitely need to know certain tools to work with software engineering. The first and foremost tool, such as this, okay, has it's a Trello is a board. Okay, it's a board for it's a ticket management system in simple. Okay, so I use Trello for my personal. Wow. Okay, so if you just see, I have a bunch of boards. Okay, don't worry. These are from my like I don't know 10 years back. So we have something called base block, some business, some tickets and other stuff. So here, what you can see, these are all different statuses. Okay, so you have backlog, you have something in actually working mode. Okay, you have something in development, something in review. So once the review is done, then deployment and archive. So these are basic. So the methodology I actually use here is Kanban. Okay, so this is basically a Kanban. Now, what what Jira does is also very similar. Now, if you use Azure DevOps, you have everything required: the tickets, the flow, the sprint, the board system, and pipelines, everything available with Azure DevOps. So it is one single point which you just need a subscription for. So suppose you start with free, okay? Everybody has to start with free, okay? You have to know DevOps, Azure DevOps board if you are actually want to work with as a DevOps engineer in Microsoft, okay? So most of the enterprise organizations, so if you say Azure, lot of several of startups don't use Azure, but most of the medium to enterprise accounts only use Azure because it has a lot of advantages for enterprises for granular control and stuff like that. So let me just open a project for you, a sample project. Okay, so this is a sample project in Azure DevOps. So you see that this is not something that I created. This is comes from Microsoft. You can't change it. So my account is this one. My subscription is skabdul0076, and this is the project name is first project. So if I just click on here, I can have multiple projects. So an enterprise can have several of projects. Okay, so once you are in one project, you can see the overall view. Now if you just check, okay, this is my project name. Okay, I hope you can see my scroll cursor there. And then we have basically 5 sections. The first section is about overview board. The second section is called basically the boards. The third section are repos. Fourth section, pipelines. Fifth section, test plans. Sixth section, artifacts. Remember, you use Jenkins for what? To create pipelines, right? Or to create jobs. You can also create jobs here. You can use Jenkins for what? For continuous testing. You can also use testing plans here. It's more granular and more controlled than Jenkins, and you don't really need to maintain Jenkins server. You have everything available provided by Microsoft. So Microsoft will take it. So Microsoft actually, these are works with the container model. So everything here is a service. Okay, so everything that you can see here is isolated with each other, so you have very less chance of going down. Okay, and if you want to store your artifacts such as images, such as any other items after testing, you can actually store them in your artifacts. So all these, so for DevOps, basically this is what you require. So you need to create pipelines. You need to, the continuous testing team will actually work with test plans. And at the end of the job, the test plans, once succeeded, they will create artifacts, and those artifacts has to be maintained. So basically, in this course, we discussed about Jenkins, we discussed about pipelines, we discussed about deployments, we discussed about a bit of a Terraform, and see what in short it actually does is that you can include the Terraform code in your pipeline. So this is gonna be your one-stop board where you have everything regarding the project, deployment, and maintenance. Okay. So coming to the summary. Okay. So currently, when you actually have a project, you all need to actually understand some of the functions of this board. Okay. So when you click dashboard, it is slow, by the way. It is comparatively slow if you check with AWS, but nonetheless, the UI of the Azure DevOps is more refined compared to AWS. Okay, so here I have already created Team Alpha dashboard. Okay, so let me just delete this first project. Let's create another project. What is that? Okay, so I just need to go to the settings, and then you see these are your DevOps services boards. That means this is equal to Trello or Jira. Repos, this is equal to your GitHub and stuff like that. And this is pipelines, similar Jenkins, test suits, other Jenkins, artifacts, your Nexus, or your basic repository management software. So all files are combined as a services here. Okay, so let me just delete this project. Okay, Now let's create a project. Okay, project name. Okay, and let me make, you still have the choice of choosing which is the right one. So currently I'm using this as a private, and here you have two options. The first option is your Git, and what kind of a process you are, TFVC. So this is native to Microsoft. Okay, so we are not going to discuss about TFVC. Everywhere people still use Git, so you can use Git. And here the work item process is basically several different means. If you want to go with Agile, you can go with Agile. You want to go with the basic. So basic has different settings with respect to the board. So you can actually choose which kind of a process you want. So or you can go with a Scrum. Scrum is obviously Agile, so you can stick with Scrum and then create. Okay, so we just created a dashboard. Okay, this is a second project dashboard. Now your complete Azure DevOps services are online here, and you have a particular project, and you have a lot more that you can. This is just the beginning of the project, so you don't have much, but we can actually work through it. So let's go to the boards. So this is a board. Okay, before we go further, let's go and see the dashboard. Is there any dashboard? None. But this is by default, you will have a team. The team name is the name of your project underscore and space team. Okay, so this is the major dashboard that you're going to see by default. Even if you don't create it, you're going to see it. Okay, so now we have another thing here, wiki. So you want to create a project wiki, right? Everybody wants to have a wiki. So now let's say this is 101 and say hello world. Okay, so now you're gonna save. You're not maintaining any server here. Okay, Azure is maintaining it for you. So that's why, and you can also instantly search the wiki. So just if you want to try, just say hello. So there is none. 101. You got the your wiki. Okay, in the search box. So if you need any help, you have the you can make the documentation inside this wiki. So if you just open the wiki, you have 101. But as the team grows and people grows, obviously you have a lot more that can be actually worked on here. So I hope this is clear. The first section, which is the overall view of the Azure DevOps. That is the main summary. So here I didn't added anything, any project stats, nothing. But you can see the whole members here. The project stats will actually increase as per the activity. And this is something that you can actually utilize for customization. Okay, don't worry about it. So this is what you need to know for the first section. I hope this is clear. Any doubts, guys?
No doubts.
Okay, so I take it if you have any doubts, please feel free. Okay, now the second board are the Azure boards. So this is like I showed to you. I don't know where is it, Trello. So Trello has this, right? So this is a standalone product for basic boards. Now if you see Azure, Trello or Jira, anything, they are standalone products and they sell this based on the utilization of the board. Now here, this is something that is has somewhat intuitive features in comparison with the Jira. Okay, so let me just say you want to work, then you have basically 7 cases: a bug, a big feature, impediments, backlog, task, test cases. So basically, how the work goes in any software company is that you the development team can actually work with features. Okay, so when you say feature, then you have to define. So let's say add edit profile functionality. This actually states that, hey, this is a new feature and this is what. So create an app, create extra functionality for the user, and then you actually describe the functionality, and then you put the expected output. Okay, and then once that is done, you're going to put the acceptance criteria. How should you accept? So user should edit his name after sign up. Okay, and then you're going to discuss regarding this. We can actually plan when should you start, maybe today, and when do you want to target, maybe 31st. Okay, and what is your priority? So this priority is high priority, so let's put 4. And what is the effort that you require? So if you are working in sprint, I believe you know into the number of points. So if you work with the points of 13, I can put this as 10. And here the business value, I don't know, I don't care. So time criticality high. And so when you say high, immediately you got the, okay, this is wrong, I believe. Time criticality. So out of scale of 10, let's put 10, and then business. And you can actually have the extra fields such as deployment and development. If you want to add more links, you can even add this particular. Suppose this is a Git branch, so you can maintain the complete code base in this Git branch, and you can even tag the branch, which particular branch actually you're following up, and save it. And you can put other related items as well, so such as maybe smaller jobs or tasks, anything. So if you say, you can put an existing item or a new item. So simple. Let's save this for now. So if you just go to the work items, you have a work item. Now, similar-wise, you have a different sets of, how can see a bug is something that when you are basically the testers will create. An epic is something that your product owner will create. A feature is something that your team lead or your project technical lead will create. Or he can create even epic based on the functionality or requirement. But sorry, feature is something that can be created by a product owner. Epic is something that mostly created by your team lead or technical lead. Now, after these 3, impediments are something that actually can be created at technical level or maybe in product level. Now, these 4 are 4 different kinds of work items. Now, the basic work item is task, and if you are actually working any test cases, you can create a test case on any product backlog. This is for a sprint plan. So if you want to plan, you can just create a product backlog and list down what exactly is the backlog, and you mention all the related items here. But we are not going to create that today. So now if you go to the board, so now different work items in the board, right? So basically we have 7 different types of board items or basic work items. Now if you check, okay, there is an item here, but why this is not in the board? So it has, now if you check, whose board is this? This is your team board. Now your team has status new, approved, committed, and done. Okay. Now if you go to the work item, what is the status here? So here you just created the whole work item, but nothing have been actually are accepted to your board. You're moving this to a team project. So sorry, not this one. Where is this one? Four. Okay, so since this is a Scrum board, you have to create a backlog item first. Since we didn't create a backlog item, it is not here. So let's actually add a backlog item. New feature. Okay, if you just see, now you have the start date. Nobody is assigned. Now it is assigned to me. Okay, now you can open this. You can check that this is assigned to me and the state is new. If you open the state, you have 5 states. One is new, the second is approved, committed, then removed. Okay, so this is a flow into the my current default dashboard. But normally this would be something like backlog, in progress, backlog, approved, in progress, or committed, anything. Committed is also good, but uh, uh, in progress, done, undeployed, that's it, archive. So there are these 7 channels normally. You can create this inside your project settings. Now, if you just see your work items, now you have 2 work items because I just created one work item. Okay, deployment. So let me just change this to myself. Oh, it's a feature. Okay. So, madam. So, okay. Now this feature can have so many steps. So I hope you understand the difference between a board and a work item. The board is basically has your sprint backlog. Okay. So here there are only 2 items that can be created. And these can be also changed in the settings. You see, backlogs, features, we can also move in epics. So it depends on how your sprint master designs the board. But you need to know that there are a lot of other available options. Okay, so when you say, you can even use card recording. So if somebody is moving the items, you can even record that. So for any reference, if somebody else is actually moving the status and can create issues, so even that can be recorded. So a lot of granular control is available. Okay, now I'm in this new item. Okay, the status is new because I'm in new. Now if I just change the status to approved, it will move away. If I change the status to committed, almost done. Same goes with done. But here is, I can even go to new back. So even this flow can be restrained because unless otherwise, because today somebody has seen this item in approved state but didn't work, somebody else moved into new state. So all the history can be maintained here inside. You just open the feature. Okay. So if you just open the history, so you see who has done what in this ticket. Everything is shown here. So the backlog item committed by me, worked by me, done by me, and again moved back to me. So even it records every detail. So this is what basically enterprises look after. So I hope you understand the basic utilization of boards here. Okay, and then this is your backlog. So you do remember that we just created one backlog, but this backlog is your first sprint. Now second sprint, third sprint, fourth sprint, fifth sprint, you name it. You can create as many sprints as possible, and this actually works beautiful. This is one of the finest way. I mean, it is the best UI I ever seen with respect to DevOps. It has all it required. Okay. Okay. So coming to the sprints. Now, until now, you just check one item board, which is similar to Trello or Jira. Now you have seen work items, which is basically utilized for product owner or maybe a project owner or product manager, anybody. Now you have something called backlogs for your sprint master. Now you have sprints. So the current sprint has only one item. So the backlog has of course one item. So you can actually create the what are the things that we need to. You can plan your sprint meeting or your sprint planning can be done in this section. And if you have any queries, or let's say you want to reports, you want to search something with respect to the task that has been done, maybe with respect to different sprints, you can just put your filter here and you can actually search. Okay, so if you just run query, you can see board tickets. So the way we manage is very effective with respect to querying, sprint planning, backlogs, boards, work items. So this is simply way above the Jira can achieve. Okay, so the second section is boards. So if you have any questions, it's time for you to shoot me. I mean, it's time for you to shoot them to me. Sorry. With respect to boards. Amaya, Rohit, any questions? Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, no questions.
Rohit?
So very good for now.
Okay, good. Now, coming to the repos. Okay, this is the second section. So before going further, I just wanted you to create a new project and create a board with all the 7 work items. Okay, and see how those can be added to your board. So how do you actually, so create a small ticket. Inside it, you actually add more tickets. Okay, this is a child task and the title is something. Okay, because you also need to get used to this DevOps board. Okay, so if you check, you have child tasks. Okay, so the number of features. So you need to understand how this works. So try to follow the same scrum as I showed in the current example. Create a product backlog, add child tasks, create a feature, see how this can be actually worked with and maintained in a backlog. plan a sprint, and see how the second sprint actually works. Okay, and search for a query. So this will give you a bit of hands-on. Okay, now coming to the repos. So this is basically a Git repo. So you can actually use, if you have the code, you can add this remote add origin and this particular repo. So this actually pushes all the code to this remote. Okay, but do understand what exactly you're doing. Git remote add origin is changing the complete remote of your Git repo. Please do verify if whatever you're doing is understandable by you or not. Okay, so don't try anything in your workplace, but at the current in your current repository for your learning purpose, try to change your current working Git report to this particular URL and see what happens here. Okay, this will actually put most of your code to your Git Azure DevOps account. If you have a different repository, you can simply put the URL of your Git and you can import it here. So two different methods, that's all. Now coming to the commits. Okay, so since we don't have anything, we can't see the commit, but if you can see, just click on commits, you can see all the commits. You can click on pushes, anything. Okay, so if you want to create a branch, tags, and pull request. So this is really nicely designed. It actually integrates the whole Git functionality into your Azure DevOps. So this is about your current repos. Now, let me just see if I can do something. This one, this is my board account. I can't do that. I have another account here. Okay, just try tomorrow. Just try to import a repo. Okay, it requires your authentication. You have to provide the username and password, and then it will gonna import the whole code. Okay. Now coming to the pipelines. This is the thing that you that basically Jenkins. We use Jenkins for the Jenkins bar. So let's create a simple pipeline. So here, when you actually wanted to create a pipeline, okay, what exactly you're gonna do? So you need to have the code base, right? So here is the code base. So where is your code? The first and foremost point, if you want to create a pipeline, where is your deployment code or where is your Git code base? So you have to put the CM here. So which SCM are you going to use? Are you going to use GitHub? Are you going to use GitHub Enterprise Server? Are you going to use Bitbucket or Azure Repository? Anything. Okay. So currently, let me just say I'm not using Azure Repository, but I'm using something called GitHub. then it's going to ask you the permission to access. So I can't do that, unfortunately, because it's my uh, professional account. Okay, so okay, did create, deleted it. So you go to the pipeline, create a pipeline. Anyway, okay. Now, once you choose the repo, okay, you have to select the repository, and then you can configure this particular section. Okay, so once this is configured, then we can create a pipeline. So maybe I need to set up something with a sample code to show this, because only then you will understand the whole pipeline flow and the UI of it. Okay, so we're gonna see this pipeline section tomorrow, but this can be discussed. Test plans. So coming to the test plans, okay. So what are these test plans basically? See, test plans are basically used in conjunction with your pipeline. So if you are actually deploying something, you have to create a deployment group. Now this is a demo group. Create. Okay. Now what kind of a line register are you using? This one. Now currently we don't have the targets. First of all, you have to register. Okay. Okay. If you want to manage, and then you will go there. So if you have any authentication requirements, you can finish your pipelines. So you do, I hope you do understand that the pipelines, deployment groups, everything, they come with a lot of authentication and other options. Okay. So we're going to see with a real-time example that will help you to overall understand the pipelines. But test plans, okay? Test plans, I think you know, load testing and other stuff. So Azure has all the required, let's say, native support for your test plans. But this is, again, if you are using any kind of, I don't know, test suites such as which are based on Selenium, okay? Or if you are using different other types of test suites, you can actually uh, so you can actually use Azure native test plans. Okay, this is different test suite. Okay, so you want to go to your test plans, click on test plans. Yeah. So whatever the automated tests that you actually attach with the pipeline, they can be stayed there, or how much time you need to maintain them. Everything can be set up here. Now let's go to the test plan. The whole test and the reports will be presented in this action. So if you use GitLab also has a similar UI for the test runs, but Azure pipelines are more, let's say, has more components and more flexible with respect to in comparison with the GitLab. Now we have something called artifacts. So for artifacts, okay, we can actually if you are actually using a Maven, a Python, npm, anything, you can actually maintain the whole artifact section here. So this is something like a repository management, as a what do you call this? A private repository management. So if you are in enterprise, you're not gonna allow all your employees to directly reach internet and grab packages, because they come up with a lot of complications. So if you use any kind of wrong license or GNU different versions, so which actually can complicate your compliance report. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna verify, you're gonna have a team who gonna do the complete compliance report and investigation, and only put the right candidates into your infrastructure artifacts. So here, if I want npm, I can actually run this package. So I can just, when I click on the tools, it will get me all the required artifact tools. So in short, what exactly it means is that it's gonna store all the uh, all the code base or artifact base into your artifact stack. So it has required feeds. So if there is any new release, you can connect it and get the download section done. So lot more functionality is there. If you can check, you have the permission, views, and upstream resources. I hope so. Currently there are 4 upstream resources, but they are not synced at all because we just created this project. So this is if you want to add another upstream, or you want a public or in a private, maybe if your company has something private, you can actually add this your Azure private artifacts as an upstream as well. So this in short, you have all the 5 different categories of your Azure DevOps. If you understand, the boards are for your work items or basic task oriented or process oriented segment, and we have repos similar to GitHub, pipelines, Jenkins, continuous integration or test plans, and deployment artifacts or maintaining the artifacts. So everything is available, everything at one point, which is Azure DevOps. So this is a different service, okay, and one has to pay for your Azure DevOps. Okay, so I'm gonna get set examples straight maybe today evening for your pipelines, so you can get a overall view, and that should actually complete this particular section. I hope this is clear. If you have any questions, it's better time to ask. Any questions, guys? Amaya, Rohit, and Richa.
So we're good.
Okay, so I hope you actually create a separate project to test this out by tomorrow, because if you have any questions, you can ask me tomorrow. And of course, please also check out this project settings, so you can limit, you can create different sets with respect to your board configuration, field configuration, and your repository configuration as well. Okay. So any doubts with respect to before this class we were discussing what? Yes, regarding the basic creation of networks. So I hope you are good with it, or any questions on it? I'm here, Rohit. Any questions on the previous task? You are okay with it? You understood the basic gist?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, so I hope you prepare Azure DevOps a bit, because they might ask like, okay, what's the difference between Azure DevOps and Jira? Why should I use Azure DevOps? Why can't I use Jira? What is the main benefit for me of using Azure DevOps? How do you maintain a pull request, or how do you maintain what are the other different methods I can maintain using Azure DevOps, a code base? What are different SCMs? Why Azure SCM, is it superior? If it is superior, then what case? Basically, nothing is superior. Okay, so both has the feature sets. GitHub is specialized in pioneering in it. Azure came up with integration as a main focus. So you should be able to communicate these items, because it actually states that you have the work experience in Azure DevOps. If you are unable to answer anything in this particular dashboard, it means that you lose or you don't have the required experience. I hope you understand the importance of the Azure DevOps. You might think this is easy, but if they ask, if you can just check Azure DevOps question, they're basically very easy. Seems easy, but if you are, they have some tricks as well. Okay, so the simple. What are the tools? Planning, code management, everything that we just did. These are nothing but tools, but they are integrated with one another. So again, it will ask for other alternatives, and then so what are the tools for this one? And what is exactly is a pipeline of Azure pipeline, and what's the difference between Azure pipeline versus Jenkins pipeline? So if they come up with a variety of questions or variety of perspectives, you should be able to understand what is anything regarding Azure DevOps. You need to be able to convey that with the interviewer. I hope this is clear for you. So here is simple. What is Azure test plan in comparison with the normal Selenium-oriented test plan? Why should I use Azure test plan? So you say that it has flexibility. You can actually have everything in one place. You can trackable, and you don't really need to maintain the whole structure as you maintain it. So different options. So I hope you actually give it a thought, and make sure that you're in good terms with Azure DevOps. Okay, so that's all from my side. I hope you prepare well, and let's catch up tomorrow. So we continue after showing a small workflow of pipelining in Azure DevOps. Then we'll move back to our Azure administration. Okay, bye bye. Thanks for your time.